Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to learn how to plot some data using Pandas, JSON, request library, Matplotlip, Seaborn, and all that beautiful stuff. Very simple, so easy to use. Now, I've made this Streamlit app, so you can put in the name of a country like Finland, press enter, and this would be plotted like this from 1921. So this is the year axis, and this is the population. That is children born in this year, 1947, for example, around 60,000. And then you can see from 60s up to 1990s, you have this peak, and then it kind of increases. And also during these years, I don't know what happened here, but you can see the population, the birth rate has decreased. So you can change it for whatever country, like Norway, press enter. And this is the code of the country, and you can see a plot. Awesome, like this. So where did I get this data? You can see it from the United States Census Bureau. If you go to Explore Data, click on Developers, and go to International Database, you can see down below here, if I press on this one, I get this format. So this is like in bytes format, something like lists in Python. So it's more like a CSV kind of thing. That is, you have headers here, name, Norway, age 0, that they were born in 2021. Population 66,000. So, and then if you go age 1, so 2021 minus 1 means 2020. So in 2020, this was the population. This is how many children were born. And then in 2019, this many children were born. So if you change this query here to NL, for example, it would give us the Netherlands. And you can see here we have Netherlands now, or DE for Germany, or FR for France. Now, how are we going to use this? And by the way, you can see it in this format because I have a JSON viewer extension on my browser, so you can look for it on your Google extension store or Brave. And with that said, so let's just do it. So I'm going to use Colab, Google Colab, as my code editor. It's online, and all of these are already installed on Google Colab. But if you're going to use it on your local machine, you have to pip install these packages: pip install requests, pip install pandas, pip install Seaborn, and pip install Matplotlib. And I have included an exclamation mark here just in case you're using Anaconda or Google Colab. Otherwise, in your terminal, just use this. Then once you have installed them, we need to import them. So import requests, because we're going to send requests to get some response. Import pandas as PD, an alias. Import Seaborn as NS, another short word for Seaborn for plotting. And import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, and in the end import JSON. Okay, so let's get our data first from this URL. Let's just copy this URL, go back, not here. Let me close this. Here. So let's just save the URL into this variable. It's easier to handle. Now we're going to send some requests to get some response from this URL. So we'll save it in RE, and we are going to say requests.get. So I'm sending requests to get the URL, and I want the content of that URL. That's why I add .content. Now if I print RE, press Shift Enter, or just press this one, you see there's a B in the beginning. That is, this means it's a bytes. It's from bytes class. So I can't access it. I can't access the indices here. For example, this is index 0, but I can't access it because it still belongs to this class, bytes. I need to turn it to JSON. How do I do that? Let's say re again equals json.loads re. So let's load this response that we got into JSON and save it again inside re. Now if I save, and you see now we have it as normal lists. Perfect. So I have access to the first index, which is name age pop. If I say brackets 0, press enter, I get the first. You see? Awesome. So now I have access to this. Now that we have it, we need to create a data frame. A data frame is basically like a table. So this is not like a table for now. We need to turn it into a table. So we use Pandas library. We create a data frame, the F1, let's just call it. And it's going to be PD for pandas dot data frame. So if you with capital uppercase D and F. And let's give it a name of well, which one? Re going to be our data frame. So it's re. And what about the columns? So we need to have some columns as well. And the columns are going to be the first row that you just saw with the name and age and all that. So they're going to be our rows. And then let's just press enter here and let's see what we have in the end. So let's run this. And look, we have name, age, pop and everything, but we also have them here. So let's drop this row, drop all of it. So df1.drop, and we're going to drop the index of 0, right? This is index 0. We're going to drop it. And now after that, we're going to see what we have. So let's just run this. And oops, we still have it. We need to save it actually in another one. df2 equals this. So df2. Okay, this one is going to be a new one. Yeah, so name, age, population. Then you see we have from index 1 now. Awesome. So this is our data frame. 101 rows and 7 columns. Let's check some information about our data frame by .info method, and let's see what we have. The class pandas, and then we have 101 entries. Awesome. These are columns. So these are the columns, and they are not empty at all. Awesome. And the data type is all objects. Well, this is weird. So objects in pandas are strings. For example, name is an object. Okay, fine. But then these are supposed to be numbers, integers, age and population. They're not supposed to be strings. Why? Because if they're strings, then I cannot compare them or cannot calculate anything with them. They're just like letters. So we need to turn each into integers. And another thing, we only need these two. So we need the year and the population. But we have age. What does it mean? So let's just say, let's do it again, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So here we have age of 0, that is 20, they were born in 2021. So 2021 minus 0 means 2021. So that's their birth year. 1 year old, 2021 minus 1 is 2020. So this is a number of children born in 2020. And 2019, 2018. So we are going to do some calculations on age and turn this into a birth year, that is 2021, 2020, and that. So two things, turn them into integers and do calculations on this age column. So how do I get the age column? By simply like this, age, and then I get the df2, yes, df2, not df. So I get the age column. You see, it's like that, easy. Now let's create another data frame to include only these two columns in it. Let's call it df3 equals pd.dataframe, and let's leave it empty, but just give it some names for the columns. It's going to be, columns are going to be year, that is for the year that we're going to calculate based on this, and population. That should be enough. Now let's create columns for this data frame df3. Let's create a column of year now. So we're going to add to that year. So based on this, based on the age from data frame 2, so df2 age, so take that column and apply some methods to it, some functions to it. So again, what did I want to do to it? I wanted to say 2021 minus 0 would be 2021, then 2020. So I want to turn all these into year numbers. How do I do that? I can either define a function here. I can say something like def, for example, a year, grabs one argument, and that would return 2021 minus x, but x is a string, so we need to turn it into integers. So I define a function here. Now I can simply refer to that function in my apply method here. So I can say here without any parentheses, nothing, because it knows that it's going to take whatever is inside that column, the values, and put it inside x, do this to it, and return x, return this 2021 minus x. So that would be one method. Now we need another column, right? So df3, and that would be for population that we just created. Now here we need to population. Now we need to create a df2 from df2 pop. We need to turn this population into integers, right? So we need to apply, and here instead of, I can do the same thing again, define another function, but let's do a different method, easier. Lambda, a one-line function, lambda x, which is like this kind of x, and let's return int x. Just turn x, that is return integer of x, that is whatever is inside this population, this, because this is all strings now, just turn them into integers and then return that integer inside a new frame. Now if we see what we have in the F3 now, head, you see we have year and we have population. Isn't it great? So we have this. Okay, now we need to plot it now, 2021, 2019. Okay. Now clean up and grab two columns. Actually, we just did it now. So sorry, I'm going to delete you guys because we just did this. Oops, what did I delete? Yeah, this. Okay, now plot it. So we need to use PLT that we I shouldn't have done that. Yes. Okay. So let me see. Okay, so Control MZ would give you like this, Control MZ to undo it. And I was stupid to do it. Okay, to clean it now, we are going to delete this thing here and this one here, and now we'll get to the plot part. So we use PLT that we just imported up here, as you can see, PLT from Matplotlip and SNS from Seaborn to have two plots. So PLT, and we are going to first check the size of the figure. So plt.figure, and let's give it a fig size equals inside tuples. So let's say 2010. This is going to be the size of the figure, and now we are going to plot it. So we say plt.plot. This will give us a line plot. And what do we want to plot? We want this year and we want this population, right? So we want these two, and easy. So let's just say df3.year for our x and the population for y. And let's say plt.show, and yeah, look at this, awesome. So we have the year here up to 2021, and we have this. It's a bit too big maybe, so let's just change it to, I don't know, 15, oops, 15, 8 for instance. Yeah, okay, so you can see this now. It starts from here, and from, I don't know, 2000 whatever in 1920, and that's for Norway, by the way, because we said that here, you see here, where was that, NO, where is NO? Okay, yeah, so for Netherlands, NL. So if you change it to NO, that will be for Norway or for whatever country you want. So that's like a line plot, but let's have a bar chart using Seaborn with those nice gradient colors. Okay, so let's just copy this and paste it here, and let's say SNS here instead of PLT, SNS dot bar plot, and yes, that should be it. Let's just paste it. Let's see what we get. Look at this. Isn't it awesome? This is so cool. But then remember, SNS for Seaborn at bar plot, and we have an X and a Y. So this Y would be this axis, and this X would be this axis, and you can see also they have titles already, but you can see they're so into each other, right? They've run into each other, so maybe we can change them vertically, like by 90 degrees rotation, so that they're more visible. So for that, let's just say here plt.x ticks, that is a ticks for x, and let's have this argument of rotation to 90. Now let's see what happens. Yes, 1921, 1922, 19, awesome, it's much better. So if we increase the size to something like, I don't know, 18 for instance, I think it would be more readable. Yeah, so it's a bit better, right? Yes. Okay, so now you can see this here. Okay, full picture. Now this was how we plotted this using Seaborn because of these nice gradient colors. You can also check Seaborn documentation for different color palettes. How do we do this now using Streamlit to make it like a web app instead of this? Well, you can think of that yourself, but just a hint, you need to, for the country names to be in these alpha or ISO codes, like Netherlands would be an L. If someone enters Germany, you should turn it into DE, for example. How you do that? You need to use a library called PyCountry. But first you need to install it. So you need to pip install PyCountry. You can just look for the documentation of how to turn a name of a country into these values. I have another tutorial somewhere on my channel to show you that. And ask for the user's input, whatever country they give you, turn it into these 2-letter codes, put it inside the URL, and just show the results, which is this to people. And for Streamlit makes it really easy. So you can just say st.pyplot and then give it the figure, the PLT, and it will show the results to you. Okay, you can do it as an exam, as an exercise maybe. That would be a good idea, I guess. So that was it for today. I hope you learned something and you liked the video. If you have any comments, please just post them down below the video, and I would appreciate it if you could like the video as well. Thank you very much for watching and listening. This video will finish in 3, 2, 1. go.